Ladies and gentlemen, this story comes out of a place called Washington, D.C., and it's really sad for a lot of different reasons. And there's some elements in this story that I've talked about on other videos, and I think those things are going to kind of come into play here as well. But the little boy that you see on my screen is the one that lost his life, okay? And that boy was 15 months old. He has a name, and I want to put some respect on his name, okay? That little boy's name is Carmelo Duncan. Beautiful baby boy. Just seemed like a really happy kid based on the pictures, and that's really all we can judge. He's a cute little baby, okay? A 15-month-old baby boy by the name of Carmelo Duncan was shot and killed while riding in the back of his father's car along with his older brother in Washington, D.C. this week, raising concerns in the community over a dramatic spike in what they call gun violence. But y'all know on this channel, we don't call it gun violence, do we? We don't call it gun violence here. You know why we don't call it gun violence? Because the guns aren't doing anything. If you leave a gun on the ground, that gun is not going to get itself up, load up the clip or magazine, and go ride and go bust caps at people. Guns don't just do that. They are inanimate objects until an adult, a human being, a person, a sentient being picks up the gun and does something with it. Other than that, a gun is just as useless as a knife sitting in a drawer. It ain't gonna do jack. I'm gonna mind my language. I'm gonna try not to cuss tonight. It's not gonna do anything until somebody picks it up and does something. You can call it thug violence. I like to call it thug violence with guns. But let's move on. Carmelo Duncan, that little boy right there, was inside his family's vehicle in the 5700 block of Southern Avenue at 9:35 p.m. on Wednesday when someone opened fire, shooting the toddler multiple times. So clearly, this baby did not stand a chance. Carmelo's father and his 8-year-old brother, who was sitting next to him in the car, were not harmed. And for somebody to come and just shoot up a car, that's just an unbelievable thing. And I'm glad that the other kid is okay. And it makes me wonder if this baby may have been targeted, but I don't know yet. But let's go a little bit further in this story. Police and paramedics responded to the scene and transported the baby, who was unconscious and unresponsive, to an area hospital, and they had to pronounce him dead of his injuries for obvious reasons. My baby boy was such a beautiful blessing to my family. Carmelo's mother, by the name of Taquana Duncan, which is spelled Taquana. I didn't look her information up, but they made her information public. So I'm a fourth party, so I hope people don't get mad at the fact that I just read what the news put out, okay? The mother, again, Taquana Duncan, said that the baby was a beautiful blessing to my family and wrote in her description on the GoFundMe campaign. Because why have insurance on your kid when you could just open up a GoFundMe? And I'm not saying that mom was wrong for opening up the GoFundMe, but what I am saying is, as parents, as adults, we need to absolutely make sure that we are accountable for our children and for our family. It is not right, in my opinion, for us to use GoFundMe as a supplement to life insurance. Because just as well as everybody will be born, everybody will die, and everybody's family needs to take care of those burials, rather than just hoping that these benevolent white people are going to come out there and feel sorry for you and donate to your GoFundMes. Are some of y'all getting pissed off? Or some of y'all getting a little mad about my words? It's stuff I've been talking about all year long. But I believe that we need to be a little more responsible when it comes to making sure that we get life insurance on our kids. Okay? Now, Carmelo has celebrated his very first birthday in late August with a safari-themed party, where he happily posed with stuffed lions, giraffes, and elephants, which is awesome. I like that. And my birthday is in August, so yeah, that's pretty dope. Police said it appears at least 2 people opened fire from at least 2 guns and a targeted attack on the car. Let me repeat that. A targeted attack on a car. Now, why am I reiterating those words? Because, in my opinion, these thugs don't just go shoot up random cars and random houses. Did I say something that was wrong? Did I say something that somebody wants to disagree with? These thugs don't go shooting up random homes and random cars. Police say that at least 2 people were shooting at this car. The car was shot and struck at least 10 times. And to me, that means something. It's not random. And so one would have to ask, if this wasn't random, who were they shooting at? Who were they actually gunning for? This is a 2-part problem. First problem is the fact that they were a target, which I'm assuming was probably the father. The second problem with that, and I hope they don't take this the wrong way, but how, if the kids are in the back seat, how do you shoot and kill one of the kids with 2 guns, 2 shooters, and you don't hit the dad at all, which is relatively a big target? Am I wrong for asking that question? Because I'm just curious. Even if you had the windows completely tinted, the front windshield is usually not going to be tinted, but I guess maybe you wouldn't shoot through the front windshield. But if the kids are in the back, then you shot in the back. Maybe they shot in the back on purpose to hurt the kids, and maybe to leave the father alive, to maybe pay a debt or something. I don't know. It just seems really weird how they didn't hit the dad at all. 2 gunmen shooting 10 times. Just throwing it out there. I just thought it was a little bit curious to me. Anyway, let's move on. DC Police Chief Peter Newsham said during a news conference that detectives believe the gunfire came from another moving vehicle, a dark gray SUV that was seen driving in the area at the time of the shooting. The baby, Carmelo, suffered a gunshot wound to the head in addition to other injuries. That little boy had his whole life ahead of him, according to Newsham. Somebody thought it was okay to fire a gun off in our community, and now this little boy is no longer with us. And dozens of people gathered on Thursday night for a vigil, not visual, but a vigil on the street where the toddler was killed. And participants called for an end to thugs with gun violence. We're going to stop calling it gun violence, okay? Thugs with gun violence. They're calling for an end to thugs with gun violence and appealed to witnesses to come forward with information. So as you guys can see, let me see if I can get this picture up for you. As y'all can see, they have a monetary reward of $60,000 for information that they're probably going to be looking for, at least an arrest and a conviction. So that's probably going to be for both rather than just an arrest. But they are offering the information. They are offering the money. Okay? So those flyers are there. So you guys can check those out. We cry. We do the hashtags. We bury the babies. And then the phone calls stop and we repeat the cycle, according to community leader Daryl Gaston. Let me see if I have his picture up here somewhere. Because he went out there and spoke, and I think I might have a little bit of video of that. Let me see if I have his picture. Y'all bear with me a moment. I think that's him. I think that's Daryl Gaston, the community leader. Carmelo is the youngest shooting fatality so far this year in Washington, D.C., which has seen a number of killings reach 187, the highest in 15 years. And it's funny how that number hit 187, which is the police code for murder. Isn't that something? 187. There are simply no words at the sense of outrage we all feel, Mayor Muriel Bowser said at the news conference. We're all sick for the heinous crimes in our city and for the havoc and pain that thugs with guns are causing in our city. They said guns, but it ain't guns. It's people with guns that are doing bad things. A combined $60,000 reward from the Metropolitan Police Department, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and the FBI is being offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the gunman. And I told y'all, I knew they were looking for a conviction as well, which is why I think that Early Walker in Chicago, and shout out to him, by the way, why his movement is different, because he just said if they get people arrested, they can still get money, as opposed to an arrest and a conviction, which could take years to get when people are putting their lives on the line right now. Just thought I'd throw that out there, because Early Walker is a dope guy, a really awesome guy, and his movement, I think, with the website, I'm telling don't shoot. That's why I think that's so significant. But let me give you guys the fair usage, and let me show you the news videos. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right.
All eyes are on the search for the person who killed 15-month-old Carmelo Duncan. Last night, somebody opened fire on Southern Avenue on a moving car and killed his beautiful baby boy. Carmelo Duncan was in his car seat in the back of that vehicle when he was struck twice by gunfire. He was but 15 months old. And right now, neighbors, loved ones, and complete strangers are coming together to mourn the loss and hope that someone will come forward to help police find the killer or killers. You're looking live at that march in Southeast Washington. We're going to go back there in but a couple of minutes. Thanks for joining us, everybody, for the Q&A. I'm Bruce Johnson. Let's first focus on the search for who did this. D.C. Police Chief Pete Newsham joins me live right now. Chief, thanks for joining us. I know you're really busy right now. Bring us up to date. What's the latest on the investigation?
Well, Bruce, first of all, you know, this is the type of thing, and I know you feel the same way for doing the work that you do in this city for as long as you have. This is devastating to us in the police department. I can't even begin to imagine the impact it's had on the family and friends of little Carmelo. And so we're going to do everything we possibly can to find the person that's responsible. The mayor said it earlier, and I couldn't agree with her more. You know, if you were out there and you were involved in this incident, you owe it to everybody in this community to come in and turn yourself in. This is something that is not going to be tolerated by anyone who lives, visits, or works here in the District of Columbia. You look at that beautiful little kid. That kid should be here today, and he's not. So as with regards to the investigation, you know, last night, a little after 9:30, we got the sounds of gunshots over in the area of the 5700 block of Southern Avenue Southeast. When we got there, there was a vehicle in the roadway. The vehicle had been struck multiple times by a firearm. Actually, it could potentially, we have evidence to suggest there was as many as 3 firearms that were fired on the scene. So when you said we're looking for one person, we may be looking for several people in this particular case.
So it could be more than just the 2 people that they initially thought. That's sad, man.
We have, if you have information, we're urging you, and I know if you had it, you would come forward because you feel the way that we do. You can do it anonymously. You can call us on 202-727-9099. You can text us on 50411. Any little bit of information that you might have can help us get to the bottom of this. So we're urging folks to do that. Do it on behalf of this little boy. Do it on behalf of his family, his mom and his dad, and do it on behalf of this community that's so devastated by this just completely unnecessary and tragic loss.
Absolutely, Chief. We underscore everything you just said. Now, you say the vehicle driven by the dad was targeted. Do you know why the vehicle was targeted?
This is a theory that we're working right now. So either someone in the vehicle or the vehicle itself was targeted. That's what it appears. And the reason we suggest that is because the vehicle was struck so many times. It does not appear to be random in nature.
So let's talk about that for just a hot moment. What is the likelihood that that man could be driving somebody else's car? I think there is a possibility, but I'm just going to assume that between the dad having his kids, it's either the mother's car or his car. And I'm just going to assume that as a man, that it's his car. He's a father. If you're going to make, matter of fact, I hope people don't get mad at me about this. If you can afford to have kids, then you should also be able to afford to have transportation. So I'm going to just assume that this is the dad's car. And if it's the dad's car, then he was the target. I would dare that father to argue me down about that. Because this type of thing don't just happen for no damn reason.
And I just want folks to know that's a theory that we're working. Whenever you're doing these investigations, you have to go where the evidence and the information takes you. That theory could potentially change. But in our experience, when we have a case like this, when there's a single vehicle and it's struck that many times, it indicates that the vehicle was being targeted.
Chief, I know you've got ATF, you got the FBI working this case. Have they been able to learn anything at this point? Forensics?
So they have bent over backwards to assist. In fact, they have normally in homicide cases, we have a reward of $25,000 for an arrest and conviction. Early this morning, the FBI reached out and they added $10,000 to that. The ATF added another $25,000 to that. So now there's a $60,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the folks that are responsible in this case.
Chief, thank you very much for your time. I know you got to get back to the investigation. I know for a fact that the men and women working this case also have children and grandchildren. So I know they're doing all they can to bring whoever is responsible for this to justice. Chief Pete Newsham, thanks a lot,
Bruce,
Chief.
Thanks for calling attention to this. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I know people wanted to hear my thoughts because we haven't heard from the mom. The dad hasn't come out and said anything, but the reason why I believe the dad hadn't came out and said anything, because I believe the dad was the target, okay? It's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to find out who he is and for those who came for him to come back and finish the job. Now, with regard to, so let me say this. Matter of fact, let me keep going about the dad, because I could be totally wrong, so let me preface this, that this is just an opinion. Because we believe, number one, that this was not random, and number two, I believe these type of shootings usually happen over one of two things. Either A, over some type of wild-ass argument, some type of dispute. B, drugs and money. And I'm willing to bet it's over drugs and money. Or option C, it could be just simply gang-related. They could have just been like, hey, he's the ops, get him out of here. It could just be that simple. But I don't know that. But I'm willing to bet, because all year long, all of these cases that we've been talking about seem to what do they call that? Revolve around drugs and money, especially in areas that are known for drugs. Okay? So let's just say this. If that's what the dad was involved in, then that would also mean that that's who the mom was dealing with, and that the mom was dealing with somebody that she probably knew was living an illicit life. Hashtag, when you date thugs, you date death. And it's a real thing. And I believe that there is something that this man was doing that was so wrong that caused his children and those children's mom's life to be in danger. All behind the choices that he's made. But I believe in my sisters. I believe in women in general. I love you guys, and I'm so honored that there's so many women that support this channel and understand my message, that this message does not apply to all women. And I'm glad that we can hold some of these bad apples accountable. What women have to stop doing is stop giving these thugs all the ass, all the sex, all the opportunity, all of these freaking things that no deserving man should go without. A man who works a job, who makes an honest living, a man who don't do all of this stupid crap, is the last person on the list to be getting, some of these chicks. Okay? And I'm not saying that these chicks are are top of the barrel. They could be very well bottom of the barrel. They could be that sticky stuff at the bottom of the barrel, right? But what I am saying is that we have to stop participating in this thing together. These women need to stop. These thugs should go without. They should be left hanging. Stop procreating with them. Stop bringing your kids around them. When it comes to the dudes, stop being so reckless with your sexuality. Value yourself. Know as a man that you should be worth something. You should be worth a future. You should be worth a value. You should be worth a woman that will be there for you and have your back, and that you ought to be an upstanding individual for your family. Be a damn man. If we do that together, this type of thing should start to lessen drastically. And another butterfly effect to that, is that then you won't have so many people who are so scared that they know something happened and they'll cast it out, they'll call it out, and they'll stop this BS from going on. We'll have people start standing on principle and start supporting family and start supporting our babies. This shirt, life, means love yourself first every day. You have to have value in yourself first. We have to start loving our children, and that's why we're the AFC and we advocate for children first. We're going to continue to keep bringing these stories out, and that baby boy could have been anything. He could have been the savior of Washington, D.C. for all we know. But guess what? We'll never know, because he didn't get an opportunity to grow up and become anything. Such a young life, such a beautiful smile, and a life that has so much promise that was taken way too early. And what I want to say is to this baby boy, and I want to make sure and put some respect on his name one more time, to the little boy. See if I can get his name. Carmelo Duncan. I want to make sure and say his name correctly. Carmelo Duncan, baby boy, young prince, R.I.P. R.I.P. This is your boy DJ Just Jay with the AFC, where we advocate for children first, and we're going to continue to keep bringing these stories out. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe to grow this message and grow this channel, okay? Thank you.